they jump in the cars. But the energy here on the grid is sky high.
Sky high. Critical moments though for the drivers. This is a physical Grand Prix. They'll keep turning for all 53 laps. They've got to be right on top of it, and the focus required when you cannot make an error throughout the full Grand Prix distance is really extraordinary.
It is, but look at this energy. We've now got all of these people on the grid dodging and diving to try and not jump into our shot. But this energy is really special, isn't it, here? And the drivers feel that when they are in the car, when they're driving around, they're seeing these grandstands absolutely packed with support for them. It spurs you on, surely, Alex, as a driver.
Absolutely, and the man I'm thinking of is Kimi Antonelli,
yes,
who's got to get the launch he needs. It's split-second stuff off the line here because he knows he's going to be challenged by his teammate George Russell. He knows Charles Leclerc is coming from the second row, as is Oscar Piastri. So, yeah, he needs to try to get that car off the line cleanly, and that's all about pressure in this sort of quick run to the first corner.
It is indeed. Now, one driver who maybe has some pressure, but also just wants to put in a solid performance after a difficult weekend so far is Max Verstappen. He's talking to Lawrence Bretto now.
Hey Max, I know it's a difficult qualifying for you yesterday, but a long race and you've had so much success here. How are you feeling about things?
Well, we'll try to do our best, try to be at least fourth fastest team, I guess that's the target.
In terms of the race out there, do you think you can take the fight to any teams while you're out there?
I'll try to get a few cars ahead, but of course the top 3 teams are way too fast.
Best of luck today.
Joined now by Mercedes Deputy Team Principal Bradley Lord. Bradley, lovely to have you alongside us. Lovely to be standing in front of a nice Mercedes front row lockout as well, I imagine.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, we've had a strong start to the season, and again, both cars on the front row, but also we know that we haven't usually emerged at the end of the first lap with both cars in the lead, so that's job number 1 today.
Have you got a plan for that? Between the two drivers, you look really strong on race pace through pre-practice, but these first few meters are here. Is there going to be a bit of formation flying down to T1?
Well, I think we've just got to keep working on the starts, keep making sure we get off the line cleanly. We've done some work since China to make that a bit easier for both drivers as well, help them do the burnouts they need to have the tyre temperature for a good start, not just the energy and the turbo in the right place. So I think we'll be looking to maximise the starts, and then after that there's not too much organising that you can do.
In terms of the competition today, the other teams have been quite open in saying they don't think that they can match the performance of the Mercedes, but how do you feel in your camp?
I don't think we're ever confident going in. We looked like we had a bit of an advantage on Friday practice, but it's hotter than it was on Friday, and likewise we know that track position is king here at Suzuka, so if others can get ahead, it's not going to be easy to get past and to get into clean air and to make use of that pace. So that's what we've got to focus on trying to do. We've seen some super exciting racing in the first 2 races, the sort of seesaw effect with the overtake mode as well, so hopefully we can get out in front of that, but if not, we'll have to make good use of it.
You've got an incredibly strong pair of drivers here and a dominant car. We're only 3 rounds into the championship, but at what point do you have to start thinking about your strategy for when these two are battling each other for the world title?
Oh, that's a long way off yet. I think we know this is only the 3rd race, but now after this one we've got a longer break than the summer break. Everyone's going to be developing. The picture could look very different in Miami, so we've just got to keep taking it race by race, keep putting performance on the car, keep fixing reliability problems, because we've been very close to falling out of some of those races with them as well, and then yeah, see where we stand when we get to the middle of the year.
Bradley, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck to the team
Thank
today.
you very much.
Right, from the start, from the front of the grid, should I say, to further back, Lawrence Bretto is with Ollie Behrman.
Ollie, you've been one of the stars of the weekend, I felt, heading into quali yesterday. It didn't go well for you. A, do you know what happened? And B, how are you feeling about the race?
Yeah, it's been a good weekend. You know, qualifying was a big shame because we looked a bit stronger than that. Unfortunately, we had a small issue on the car. It was a very big rush between FP3 and quali because we saw a small issue on the gearbox side. We had to change that. And then, unfortunately, in the first run of quali, we had a small issue on the software, let's say. Everything is very complicated and everyone was in a big rush, so it's a shame, but you know, these races so far have been so entertaining and so crazy. I've also started my first laps in Australia and China at the back, to be honest, after everything that happened, so I'm looking forward to today.
I know it's tough to overtake around here, but you've got a fast car, haven't you? Points are still possible, right?
Of course, of course. There's going to be reliability, so we just want to finish the race. And I think just by doing that, we're going to have a good result. So I'll be doing my best.
So best of luck today. Thanks.
Ollie Behrman will be doing his best today, and also so will all the other drivers, of course. And we have a man incoming now, McLaren Racing CEO, who will be hoping that his best is good enough for his drivers. Thank you for joining us, Zach. We're just outside Oscar Piastri's car now. Best start for the season for the team with this P3. How are you feeling looking ahead to the season? How are the drivers feeling? You were just having a quick catch up with them.
Drivers feel good. Good to get another race under our belt coming out of China, which obviously was a non-starter for us. Lando's had some issues this weekend. The team's done a great job, and as has he. And Oscar's been very quick all weekend. I think the Mercedes are out of reach for all of us, but I think we could have a good fight with the Ferraris, and I think the other cars behind us aren't that far behind us.
So you think that's who your race is with today? You've done a brilliant job to get the cars, back on track throughout free practice and overcome those issues to put the two drivers in the hunt. You think you're up against Ferrari today?
Their race pace looks really good, but I have a lot of belief in our team and our drivers, so I think we can take the fight to them. I don't think it'll be easy at all, but I think we're going to put on a good show, and given these starts, you might see 6 abreast going into turn 1, which would be kind of cool.
Thank you very much for joining us, Zach. Good luck today to yourself and to the
Thank you very
team.
much.
Right, very quickly, Alex, predictions for today. Who is winning this and who is on the podium?
I can see George Russell taking the wing on strategy. It's going to be a tough battle between the two Mercedes, but these two are going to be in the action here. Expect Charles Leclerc to lead this Grand Prix on the first lap.
Well, it's not long now. It is around the corner. The atmosphere here in Suzuka is electric. The grandstands are full and the fans are ready. At the front, it's Mercedes locking out the front row with Kimi Antonelli on pole once again. But McLaren and Ferrari are right there, ready to challenge on a circuit that rewards bravery and punishes mistakes. It is time for the Japanese Grand Prix. Wherever you're watching from, enjoy.
There's something about Suzuka history on every magnificent corner. And the Japanese Grand Prix is go! This place adores the heroes who dare to race. Suzuka is that special. Collisions and controversy. Still the fight, corner after corner. The drought ended, a return to glory. Home heroes on the podium. A back-to-front masterclass. Fight for the win. Daring overtakes. One of the great moves. It's close on the exit. It's side by side. Massive impacts.
I hope I'm not getting bored of this, because I'm definitely not.
Oh, yes, baby! Fans that stand among the sport's most passionate and dedicated. One of the ultimate driving challenges, the Japanese Grand Prix, is next. Welcome to one of the finest venues for motor racing on the planet. Suzuka in Japan has witnessed some of the greatest moments in F1 history. The clashes between Prost and Senna, the Hill, Hakkinen and Schumacher championships, and 2005's all-action stunner when a Kimi won from 17th on the grid. In 2026, we've got a new Kimi leading the way. It's Antonelli, the driver at the front. He's on pole for the Japanese Grand Prix of 2026. This fabled racetrack is ready for the 40th edition of this race in the World Championship. 18 turns, but it's more than that. It's a flowing challenge for all that take the lights. On the soft, the medium and the hard. It runs to 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles, and we'll have 53 laps before someone gets handed the largest trophy. Wherever you're watching us from, brilliant to have your company on Apple TV, on F1 TV, around the world. It is time to enjoy the spectacle of racing in Japan. We'll go from the back to the front. Aston Martin are there for Honda's home race. Stroll behind Fernando Alonso, who became a dad this week. Valtteri Bottas in 20th behind teammate Sergio Perez. And the shocker qualifying was Oliver Bearman, 5th in the World Championship, 18th on the grid. Alex Albon is 17th, one place ahead of him. Carlos Sainz in 16th next to Franco Colapinto. To the next row we go, which begins with Nico Hülkenberg. He'll start 8 meters ahead of Liam Lawson. Esteban Ocon is next to Max Verstappen. That's been spicy in the past. Verstappen, the big story of Q2. Previously, he was on pole for the last 4 races here. Arvid Lindblad, 18-year-old rookie, is in 10th position. Gabriel Bortoleto, P9. Then it's Isaac Hadjar. He is next to Pierre Gasly. Lewis Hamilton, a 4-time winner around here, starts in P6. The world champion Lando Norris is P5. Next to Charles Leclerc. Can he bolt from 4th? Oscar Piastri's been getting good practice starts from P3. And it's the Mercedes pair at the front. But for the second Grand Prix in a row, it's Kimi Antonelli on pole. 19 years of age. If he stays there and finishes ahead of his teammate, he is the new World Championship leader. In the commentary box, I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm joined once again by former Renault Formula One driver Jolyon Palmer.
What do we have in store today then? 2 iterations of Grand Prix racing in 2026, and in both of them, a Ferrari has led at the start of the race. Charles Leclerc providing all the action at the start of the Australian Grand Prix. We had Lewis Hamilton getting involved in the mix as well in China. This time Leclerc's got a McLaren to pass as well as the 2 Mercedes if he's going to lead at the start. And all of the work, all of the qualifying antics that played out yesterday saw Kimi Antonelli take pole, but it will count for nothing if he cannot get off the line. He managed to just about do it in China to keep Russell at bay, if not the Ferraris, but this one is going to be more critical because overtaking is not easy. And I can tell you as well, the entire field, minus Valtteri Bottas, start on the same tyre. That is the medium tyre for a fairly routine one-stop race. Now, don't switch off because strategy doesn't need to come into play this year for us to have a decent, entertaining race. We've seen so many wheel-to-wheel battles and overtakes. But in terms of strategy, it's not going to be any difference, at least in terms of tyre choice, as the blankets come off and should reveal all of the cars on that yellow-walled medium tyre.
So everyone going the same way. A defined strategy and a one-stop expected, but we have seen plenty of incidents on opening laps. We've seen lots of contact across the course of the 3 races, 2 Grand Prix and 1 sprint that we've run so far this year. The track temperature is 36 degrees, the air temperature is 18, and it's time to get the cars underway. A slightly delayed start here after a big accident in the support race. Saw a barrier repair, which means that we're 10 minutes past where we would be. Confirmation that all but Valtteri Bottas start on the medium tyre. Aston Martin have really been struggling with the vibrations of their power unit. Cadillac are pretty encouraged with their gap to the rest of the field. If you consider it's only their 3rd Grand Prix, there's a real test of a car's overall performance around the Suzuka International Racing course. Bearman expects to go forward and challenge for the points. And Albon not happy behind the wheel when he was told he was knocked out yesterday. Sainz in 16th, hoping to do what he did before and run to the points. He was 9th in the last Grand Prix. At the very front, Kimi Antonelli versus George Russell, the young hotshot who became the 116th winner of a World Championship round last time out, and the heavy pre-season favourite, locked together once again at the front of the field.
And we're already round to the hairpin at turn 11 with Antonelli, so it's been quite a pacey run through the first half of the lap on this formation lap, and he's got to think about bunching the field. There's a massive gap behind Norris to Lewis Hamilton. That's a massive gap. Where is Lewis? There he is, coming into the picture now. Everyone desperate to find some tyre temperature on this formation lap. Remember, they've got to get their batteries to the right level for the start of the race. Now, that is not to be sitting there brimmed on the line, because then they're not going to be able to spool the turbos up by effectively recharging the last little bit of battery. So they want to get there with about 80% of battery. And it's difficult to do that. So there's going to be swings in margin either way. But they have to get the tyres fired up as well. So that is your knife edge of performance. Battery versus tyres. Russell didn't do it in the safety car window in China, and it cost him a potential shot at victory, or challenging his teammate at least. And they're all figuring it out all the time. And look at these two Mercedes roaring already now into the chicane, desperate to get to that right level. Can Piastri put into practice here what he's been working on through the weekend? First of all, he's going to get a race start on the board, so happy days there. Second of all, can he lead? Because he, like the Ferraris, has been flying off the grid.
And the Ferraris and the McLarens know that their only chance to take victory is to swat away at the Mercedes, to get them into dirty air, to force them to parts of the racetrack they wouldn't normally be in. That, if you let the Mercedes run out front, they will disappear, and both of the drivers on the second row know it.
It's a difficult start as well. You've got to have your left foot resting on the brake. That was a nice shot of the way the track gently slopes downhill on the start line. And it's then a very, very quick approach to the first corner. It's a reasonable run, and then not a break when you're at high speed, and not a break if you're going for the race lead at the actual turning point for one. So there's not a chance to lunge it at this corner. It's not like Leclerc's flary start in Melbourne where he dived down the inside on the brakes. He has to do it in pure traction off the line.
Toto Wolff, CEO of the Mercedes Formula One team, looking on. Deputy team principal alongside him. Aston Martin heading to the back. We've got no cars in the pit lane for the first time all year. We're going to have a full 22 on the grid. That one's not been true for a decade in Formula One, but it's true today. Track temperature is at 36 degrees. Air temperature is at 18. Cars in formation. Antonelli next to Russell at the front of the field. We await the green flag at the back. Then the pause to allow the revs to rise, and it will be time to count on the lights. The Japanese Grand Prix is underway. Watch Piastri, race leader Piastri, past one Mercedes, past two Mercedes, third to the lead, and he's brought Charles Leclerc to second place. Both the Mercedes crawled off the line, Lando Norris to third. Game on in Japan. It's Piastri, Leclerc and Norris.
And Antonelli, the pole sitter, has tumbled down even further than that. Hamilton's come past him as well. I love how punchy both the McLarens and the Ferraris feel about it. We mentioned Oscar's been flying off the line, and the initial launch, the drop of the clutch, it was all there for him. Through he goes.
Piastri, Leclerc, Norris, Russell down 2, Hamilton up 1, Kimi Antonelli from pole position to 6th position.
Okay, Mercedes, we know you can overtake a car. We know you can overtake a couple of cars, but can you overtake 5 if you're Kimi Antonelli on a circuit where it is not classically that easy to overtake? Can the McLarens work together in first and third? Brilliant start from Lando Norris. He had to work hard at that around the outside of George Russell at turn 2. As Verstappen's going to get passed by Ocon, is he?
Ocon with a lot of momentum, no way by. Poor starts for the Audis as well. Bortoleto down 4 places, Hulkenberg down 6.
So the active aero opens as they head down towards 130R, and this is your biggest overtaking opportunity coming up. Flat out through here, the car's starting to just harvest energy at the braking zone, and Russell now starting to menace the rear end of Norris. Antonelli starting to get pretty racy behind Hamilton. And a big switch from Russell coming out of the final corner. Traction is so difficult there, and you're going to need it to make an overtake into one.
Okay, big speed, huge speed, and not a contest. Antonelli past Hamilton, he recovers a place. He's up to P5.
Okay, so easy peasy, past one for Antonelli, a battery game, and he had more of it than Lewis out of the final corner. So that's one back. Norris was really close to the back of Leclerc as well, so the Ferrari power units are not competitive compared to the Mercedes power units. The Ferraris are really quick through the corners, they are not quick on the straights, and that's what we saw with Hamilton, and it's what we saw in China as well, with the Mercedes just cruising past when they had the battery deployment in place. But the McLarens have the Mercedes power unit that is effective in the back of their car. They don't have chassis performance as much. They don't quite have the optimization even of the power units, but they have the fundamental grunt. So Antonelli now looking quite racy behind Russell as well. Can they cruise past Norris as easily as they cruise past Hamilton?
You've got Isaac Hadjar directly ahead of Max Verstappen. Verstappen, who was fighting Esteban Ocon, gets past Isaac Hadjar. That's not a contest either. He's up to 9th position.
Okay, so Hadjar having a little look at the back end of Verstappen through the spoon curve. So Max just waiting, harvesting, as Isaac was then looking to make the most of it. Ocon now on the prowl.
We go to 130R. The two French drivers taking the sensible route to not go side by side through one of the fastest corners on the racetrack. And Hadjar coming back against his teammates, wisely deciding to tuck back in. He hangs on to 9th.
Yeah, so that is just a function of Verstappen using energy to pass Hadjar. Hadjar then having a bit to come back, but he's used it, is not efficient, he's not made it through, so boom, Ocon comes past.
Also making a place, George Russell up to 3rd. So that is Mercedes power against Mercedes power, and Russell gets through past the McLaren man. It's Oscar Piastri who leads by 1.7 seconds.
Okay, so 2 laps, 2 passes for the two Mercedes, and look how close Antonelli is as well. Remember, you can follow a little bit more closely through the corners this year. The S's last year would have been really difficult to get within a couple of seconds of the car ahead, but there is less downforce on the cars this year, and it means the wake, the dirty air is reduced, and this will help Mercedes as well. And this will be a chance for them to really flex their muscles. I mean, if they can waltz past their nearest rivals in a few laps here, then they have got some advantage.
Well, we're going to see them tested after another tough start off the line. Fastest lap belongs to Kimi Antonelli, but crucially, he dropped down to 6th position. He's gained 1 place on Lewis Hamilton. And the driver who's 4 points back in the World Championship sees George Russell with track position. Russell 9/10, 8/10 of a second off the back of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc.
So let's have a look at Antonelli then. Here's going to be an opportunity for him. Can he follow in his teammates' footsteps and clear Norris? Thinks about it, but he's not close enough yet. But has he got anything more in the tank to provide for an attack down towards turn 1? Straightens off the exit there, gets the power down nicely.
Depletes the battery, comes across the line. That's George Russell, and he disappears past Charles Leclerc to 2nd place. Into the first turn of the racetrack, Russell making up the positions. Passing the cars quickly is what he needs to try and take his 2nd Grand Prix victory of the year today.
Yeah, it's like 2014 again, isn't it? The Mercedes, they've got a 2nd on anyone. The way that they are cruising past a car a lap, and these are their nearest rivals. McLarens, Ferraris that were able to fight. They can't muck around, Russell and Antonelli, because they are racing each other. So it's like they're clearing back markers at this stage, but it's just front-running positions. But they have to do it efficiently, because every time Russell doesn't make a move, there's the risk that Antonelli will make the move and he'll get on to his gearbox and put pressure for what will be a more critical pass if one Mercedes can pass another. Antonelli a little bit wide through the apex of turn 11 there, and Norris will live to fight for another corner at least.
Max Verstappen is fighting up against David Lindblad, the 18-year-old rookie driver, making just his 3rd Grand Prix start in Formula 1. Knocked Verstappen out of qualifying yesterday with a fine lap that put him into the top 10 shootout. Verstappen gaining a couple of positions, up from 11th on the grid to 9th in the race at the moment. So lap 4 of 53, Oscar Piastri taking the lead at the start. Russell has reclaimed some of the positions, and he hopes to improve to the lead. Kimi Antonelli trying to follow back through, dropping down to 6th. He's now back up to 5th place, trying to turn that into 4th very, very quickly. Let's see if he can do it. Down the main straight. Let's see if he's got the bravery, not this time, to get past Lando Norris.
So Norris is back within a second of Leclerc, so that'll give him overtake and a little bit more battery in the tank to try and defend from Antonelli. So KIVEE not finding it quite as easy to clear the traffic as George, and it's giving George a nice buffer in this Grand Prix, where we're still expecting him to fly past Piastri and Antonelli probably to follow suit at some point sooner rather than later. But all the while, this is the reverse of China, where Russell was mired in the traffic and Antonelli was driving out front. Russell's not there yet, but he has the race lead in his sights.
Overall context, let's just see if Antonelli can put a move into the hairpin. Doesn't need to take any great risks. He will have learned that from his sprint race in China, that he's got the car performance to come back through. Max Verstappen, however, loves a late lunge, and that's 8th position for the 4-time champ.
Lindblad had a good start, 10th on the grid, made a couple of places. He's just lost one of there to Verstappen. He wasn't going to fight him too hard either, I think. He's tried, hasn't he, so far this year? It's been impressive, the youthful exuberance of Arvid Lindblad, but there's no point having a tangle with a Max Verstappen on the warpath.
Oscar Piastri last won a Grand Prix in the Dutch Grand Prix, where he had a huge lead in the World Championship, but was whittled away in the end by the driver you're looking at right there. Lando Norris is going to be under big pressure this time around from Kimi Antonelli.
But once again, Norris has got to within 1 second of Leclerc at the overtake detection point, so he's going to have an extra half a megajoule in the battery, so effectively a bigger tank of fuel for energy that he'll have to use. So be able to run at a higher speed for longer. Let's have a look at the start, because the Mercedes got absolutely swamped here. Antonelli went nowhere once again. 3rd start in 4, he's not got away at all. And Piastri's through, but look at Norris here, from a long way back on Russell, and then just thinks, go on. And then, if you're going to be cautious at turn 2, I'll just sweep round the outside. 3rd place, I'll have it. Not for long.
Had to take. They're being so aggressive on the start line. Listen in.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. It's like he's not fully disengaged the clutch when he drops it. So I wonder if he's had to do another shallow clutch drop because he's not had turbo spool.
Compare it to this. All the practice starts were great for Piastri, and in the real thing, got the lead.
Yeah, so it's wheel spin as well. You could see those rear tyres spinning up for Antonelli initially. So he's not got tyre temp, and then he's just trying to creep away with it. Russell's start is better, but he's also struggling to find the traction of the Ferrari and the McLaren around. So Leclerc sweeps through, and then the Norris move around the outside is a little bit more ambitious, but it came to nothing because of that move.
Out front, there is 0.8 of a second between the top 2 in the Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri checks the left-hand mirror, and it is full of George Russell, who is chasing his 2nd Grand Prix win of the season today. Antonelli in the traffic, the championship pendulum. You get the feeling when it's going to be a 2-horse race, it's going to swing back and forth, but it's swung the way of George Russell for the time being in the points battle. Further back in the points, Esteban Ocon has got past Arvid Lindblad. He's up to P9.
So Lindblad now on the fringes of points, and you can see Hadjar now, the next car behind the young rookie, and really quick through the S's there, Hadjar. Gaining. It's going to be difficult for him to make an overtake until he gets a lot further around the lap to maybe Max Verstappen's corner, which is where Piastri and Russell, the race leaders, are heading in here, the left-hand hairpin. And this is hurting Antonelli a lot. Norris is looking quicker than Leclerc, so as you see the trio for 3rd place, Leclerc sliding slightly coming out of the hairpin. He's backing into Norris, only by half a second slower than Russell on the last lap, 1/10 slower than this man, the race leader. But it's just meaning that Norris can stay within that 1 second and not have the extra power to try and come through. Unlike Russell here, who's got it. Let's see if he can make a move. Active aero open for Piastri.
Russell getting closer, 0.6 of a second. Charles Leclerc 0.7 ahead of Lando Norris. This the battle for the lead, though. Neither one of these drivers has won the Japanese Grand Prix before. It's a historic race. It's the 40th running of it in the World Championship. Some incredible Formula One moments through the years on this tarmac. And again, Piastri seeing where Russell is. Russell biding his time, getting closer. No need to shape for the move, though, and deplete any of that power.
Piastri dropping a couple of tear-offs into the path of the Mercedes just behind as well, getting closer and closer, but not close enough. And again, it's not really a braking zone, the first corner. It's a deceleration zone for turn 2. So it's not an area where you can fire in a lunge if you're George Russell. He's going to have to do it on straight line performance, and the McLaren has the same power unit in the back of the car. So the Mercedes power unit in the McLaren, but Russell has the advantage of a little bit more deployment at his fingertips as he sits within a second. Then you've got Leclerc now on the last lap, a personal best for Charles Leclerc, 1/10 quicker than Oscar Piastri. So managing to just stabilise in that car. Norris sitting with, and then you've got Kimi Antonelli in the second battle. Lewis Hamilton not miles away from them either, just over a second away from Kimi.
So, story of the season so far for Oscar Piastri. This is his first Grand Prix start of the year. Crashed on the reconnaissance lap at his home race in Melbourne, and a hardware issue with the battery caused him not to start the last Grand Prix. He's leading this one, but George Russell trying to change that. Russell to the inside of the chicane, and George Russell undoes the damage of the start and takes the lead.
Has he got any battery left though? Because Piastri's harvesting was extreme there. I think he was waiting for a chance to sweep straight back through.
Is it going to be pass and repass again? You bet it is. Oscar Piastri finding the Grand Prix this year and fighting for it. He retakes the lead, as now Lando Norris puts the pressure on third place Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, I think that was pretty clever from Piastri. You have 3 opportunities to make an overtake, or 4 if you're brave and you want to try and pass in a corner, which is going to be the hairpin. As we ride on bull with Russell now, 6/10 away from Piastri. If you don't overtake at the last opportunity, which is into turn 1, it's then difficult to sweep through anywhere here. You have to hark back many a year to see a dry weather overtake through the S's. But if you don't overtake into turn 1, you always run the risk of being repassed, as Piastri did. The way that Russell started to catch him through 130R, you could see Piastri was just harvesting energy. He was downshifting on the exit. Look, here we go. The light blinks. He's harvesting already now. We close. Downshift for Russell. It's another one for Piastri, and he doesn't even fight that down the inside because he knows, come through, I will absolutely repass you down the next straight, and it's not even a fight as Oscar just waves straight through.
It might be the first time that he started a race, but the tactics were played to perfection.
Student of the game, isn't he?
Well,
he's watched 2 full Grand Prix.
That's the thing. He's been able to watch it. That's all he was doing in the first 2 rounds. We jump cut to this. Kimi Antonelli all over the curb. We're on board with him left-hand side. Trackside pictures of the battle for third.
He's going to have a shot here, wafting to the middle of the road. They might both have a shot at the back of Charles Leclerc. Norris looking racy. Antonelli's quite far back. It's not going to do from here into a corner that you're barely having to get out of the throttle for. So once again, Charles Leclerc, the cork in the bottle here, that is just actually allowing Norris a better chance to defend from Antonelli. So Antonelli not miles away from his teammate, still 3 seconds, and still quicker on the last lap because Russell is out there fighting with Piastri. If he can clear these 2, he can probably go and catch quite quickly the lead battle, but he's just getting frustrated behind Norris, who's obviously wanting to clear Leclerc, but in staying 4th, he's having his best shot to try and defend from Antonelli, who's closer here out of Degner 2.
Lap 10 of 53, the top 4 are separated by 4 seconds. Kimi Antonelli's trying to join that top 4 at the moment. George Russell, 0.8 of a second away, trying to stay within the 1 second window to get overtake mode. Single detection, and you get it for the whole lap. Isaac Hadjar is the driver we're on board with on the left-hand side, trying to improve to the points. Driver currently in 11th. Valtteri Bottas, only driver on the hard tyres, fell to the back. Everyone else is on the mediums. We're expecting this to be a one-stop race. And it is a race at the front. 6/10 for the lead. Antonelli getting closer to Lando Norris.
Yeah, once again, but Norris is doing well, the same as Piastri's doing well out front. The McLarens have the good power unit in the car. They've got more power than the Ferraris. And it's allowing Norris, who doesn't have the speed through the corners of Leclerc ahead or Antonelli behind, but it's allowing him to have a good shot. And again, you can see him catching Charles Leclerc, who not only doesn't have the strongest power unit, he doesn't have that extra half a megajoule of energy in the tank to use as well, because he doesn't have the overtake, the DRS of 2026 available.
Oscar Piastri out front by less than a second. George Russell trying to elongate his championship lead that came down to 4 points last time out in the Chinese Grand Prix. Then the world's most expensive truck and trailer with Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. And then we get to Kimi Antonelli, who, to be honest, of all the drivers in the top 5 across the course of the weekend, has looked the one with the best performance behind the wheel, but he's not got the track position. And track position around Suzuka is absolutely everything.
Yeah, he's been almost perfect through the weekend, consistently quick, put Russell under pressure. Russell made setup changes before qualifying to try and get to terms with his young teammate, and actually wasn't happy with that. We heard a lot of that play out on the radio as he was fighting oversteer. Now remember, that's not changed into this race with Parc Fermé rules, so Russell's still driving a suboptimal Mercedes, but he's got track position. Antonelli's closer here on Norris. This will be a great chance.
So is this the moment for Kimi Antonelli? He has the inside line into the chicane. Can Lando Norris do what his teammate did and pass him back into turn number 1? Pass and repass has been such an element, but it looks like Antonelli is clear for the moment. Look at the top 5, look at the top 6 all on the same straight on lap 12 of 53.
Yeah, I think the white flag flying in the end for Lando that time around. Agile right on the tail of Lindblad. And yeah, Norris just sitting in that dirty air for such a long time. A little bit of graining for Piastri. Remember, he's out in clear air. So the circuit's been resurfaced for 2/3 of it around this lap as Hadjar shapes and doesn't pass Lindblad. It's been resurfaced, and that has helped the graining significantly. But if you're going to attack the corner entries, which is basically how you have to drive now, because you can't just wait and be patient for the exits, because there's not an efficient way to use your battery. So you attack the entries, particularly at Degner, particularly at Spoon, where you then want to avoid going on throttle between those two apexes to conserve your energy for the straights and have better use of your throttle allocation around the lap, basically. You then attack those entries, you start to damage the tyre. So even with the resurfaced tyre bank, I mean, look at that beautiful smooth asphalt for the teams. But even Piastri there saying there's a little bit of graining coming, and he's got clear air. He's having to hustle though, because he's got to hustle because of Russell.
If you'd seen the look he gave me in the commentary box before he delivered that
I
line.
said the word hustle, and I thought this has got to come now.
It's getting spicy between Lindblad and Hadjar in the left-hand side of your picture. It looks like we could have a change of lead again in a few moments' time. That's a great exit out of the 18th and final corner for Oscar Piastri, who is fighting brilliantly against a Mercedes machine that has just been superlative in the new rule set. First McLaren laps that they've led around this storied racetrack since 2011, when Jenson Button was the winner that day.
Yeah, well, thankfully Piastri's made a race start, because he has made a race of this Grand Prix as well. 13 laps, and Russell fell to 4th, blasted past Norris, blasted past Leclerc, but the final move is not as straightforward as Russell's still in his wheel tracks, just trying to figure out a way through. He's got a little bit of time to be patient, but Antonelli will soon clear Leclerc. Leclerc, remember, doesn't have the overtake advantage to attack or defend the second Mercedes, as Norris had. So Antonelli should have a good opportunity. Then he's got 2.5 seconds to make up to get to the back of Russell, and then we'll see what George is made of, because if you start to overtake and you can't make it stick, you might not only have Piastri coming back through, you might also have your teammate, and that would be a more costly one. I still think Mercedes are in a pound seat here for a 1-2 in the long run, but they have to figure out how they're going to clear Piastri.
Piastri having a brilliant return to racing in Grand Prix. Russell staying within that 1 second window. And Kimi Antonelli really in the wheel tracks of the Ferrari in front. How long will that remain the case? Now the gap comes out to a second across the line for the race lead. It is very much not that. Between Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli, it's 0.3, it's 0.2, it's down to 1 and a shape for defence for Charles Leclerc. No way through for the Italian teenager.
So overtake is enabled for Antonelli. He can also use boost, which is basically maximum deployment anywhere on the lap. Leclerc can use that as well. All of the drivers can use that at any moment to override the sort of normal mappings of the power units and deploy 350 kilowatts at any given moment. I wonder if Antonelli had to think about it as Leclerc slowed slightly into turn one. Nothing doing on this lap, but it's a matter of time.
Out of the second Degner we go. And the sound of V6 turbocharged engine with the 50-50 split between the internal combustion engine and electrical power, the recharge for this season. 1.1 seconds now for George Russell out front. Everyone on the same strategy as well. Continue over the curbs. Let's see whether there's a chance for Kimi Antonelli now, the 19-year-old at his best day in his young career back in China. He's trying to go back-to-back for Grand Prix victories, and that isn't impossible, but he needs to make the move on the Ferrari fast if that is going to happen today.
Lumping on the curbs through the final chicane. Looked like Leclerc was really sitting on the rear axle as he was trying to get optimum traction. Here we go. The energy kicks in. Leclerc starts to harvest. Antonelli's not quite close enough into the first corner. So it's there. It's tantalising for him to clear Charles Leclerc, get himself back into the top three, and then go about chasing the two for the race lead.
If we hold track position, I think we can hang on to this. Copy, Oscar, understood.
Okay.
Oscar Piastri saying the equivalent of get forward, we can win it here. If I'd been in all the other races, it would have been a different story. What Mercedes dominance.
I love the ambition. So he's leading the race. With every lap that he's now sitting here, 1 second clear of Russell, he's thinking, well, maybe I can keep him back forever in this Grand Prix. There's going to be a second Mercedes for company coming up quite soon. But you do gain that confidence. The first lap, Russell started catching, made the pass. But now, sitting there, dropping back slightly, he may be chewing through his front tyres with a bit of graining in the dirty air as well. Piastri's thinking, okay, if we can maintain track position, we can hold it. What he's meaning is pit stops are coming up. Do not get undercut by Mercedes. That is what Piastri is telling his McLaren team. So they have to be preemptive here, put on the new tyres first and hold on, because if Russell gets one lap of undercut, he'll be through.
Arvid Lindblad, hold on, let's do the Kimi move first. It's been coming, there it is. Kimi Antonelli up to third. Two Mercedes now in the fight for Grand Prix victory. Oh, he nearly dropped it. My word. That's going to give Charles Leclerc a chance immediately. Trying to get the power down, trying to use all the 1,000 horsepower out of the 18th and final corner, and he's reopened the door.
Costly, big snap. Agile's going to have another go at Lindblad on your left-hand side. They're fighting very, very hard. And it was down there that Lindblad had a big chop.
Oscar, thoughts on going this early to be sure to defend against Russell? Lap 15.
Interesting, the tyres coming onto the end, then one off.
So it's 22 seconds for a pit stop in clear air. Now, of course, the safety car chance reduces that massively, and if you can pit under safety car, any one of these guys in the top 6 could lead the race if they are the beneficiary of that. It saves you 12 seconds. But Piastri's saying, well, the team saying on the radio, you call the shots then, mate. You're saying, let's not get undercut. How early do you fancy going to take that risk? It's really difficult, this one, to balance out. And these hard tyres, we think, will last the duration. This is about the pit stop window we're in. You can see it on the bottom right, the expectation for today. So if they want to go preemptive, then now is about the time. I can see Russell coming in soon because he's dropping away here and he's gaining nothing.
Just on the safety car stats, he mentioned we haven't had one in the last 15 years after lap 9. So if you get safety cars, they tend to happen at the start around this circuit. And Oscar Piastri sat in a 3-car train, didn't he, for a large part of the Grand Prix here last year, as in comes his teammate, Lando Norris. So Piastri thinking, well, it's pretty difficult to get beaten with the lead in Suzuka when you go in to the second stint of the Grand Prix. His belief is rising. Lando Norris is in the pits for McLaren. I can tell you, Arvid Lindblad has been shown the black and white flag for moving under braking, so if he does it again, it's a penalty. And Isaac Hadjar is raging on the radio, rejoining the race. Lando Norris, 23-second time in the pits and a 2.5-second stop.
Yeah, so it's a good job for Norris that Lindblad was racing for his life against Hadjar, because that slowed them both up and given Norris a little window for him to come out And put the question then to Ferrari. Leclerc will surely have to pit and cover off Norris in their mini battle now. But what then does Antonelli do? That oversteer coming out of the final chicane was a really costly one for Kimi, because he's had to now sit back behind the Ferrari for another 2-3 laps, and they are going more than a second a lap slower than those up the road now. The gap is really blown out between Leclerc and Russell. Russell's dropping away from Piastri, and suddenly Antonelli was a few seconds off the race lead. He's now 6. So he's going to hope that Charles Leclerc will either wave the white flag, but more likely, there we go, he'll box, or both.
So the pit entry is after the chicane. Kimi Antonelli will be released to try and use the pace that he's got. Charles Leclerc goes for the new rubber. For all that has changed in Formula One in 2026, the advantage of putting on fresh Pirelli tyres is still enormous, especially in a one-lap race. Lando Norris is racing Charles Leclerc right now.
Norris could do with clearing Ocon, and he's incisive there down at the final turn, so no time wasted at all. This is the battle then for what is effectively 4th place in the Grand Prix. There's Norris, here's Leclerc.
Ferrari on the left, McLaren on the right. Huge speed for Lando Norris, but not enough. And covered off for Charles Leclerc. Ferrari will be pleased with that one. He's out in P7, but that's an important pit stop, well executed for the Scuderia.
Yeah, no massive undercut at all there for Norris. Of course, he had Antonelli between himself and Leclerc, but Leclerc managed to do a tidy enough in-lap to defend then from the threat of the new tyre, Norris. The hards have still got to fire up. So it's not like you get the magical performance coming out of the pits and it's straight there. It's not the hottest of days, and there is gain in having a new tyre. There is an undercut threat, but from the look at that, it's not massive. It's good information for Piastri out front. 1.8 seconds the race lead, another 10th gained on Russell, and with every lap that Russell's falling away, this is a cushion now for McLaren. They don't have to be preemptive if the gap goes to around 2 seconds. They maybe can sit there, wait for Russell to pit and pit on the next lap, but they're not going to. They're going to be preemptive. I don't blame them.
They're going for the fresher rubber. Oscar Piastri's strong weekend saw him lead onto the 19th lap of the Grand Prix. But he wants a strategy that does not allow Mercedes to have the fresh rubber, and as a result, it's a high-pressure pit stop with victory on the line for McLaren.
Mediums to hards, the only strategy really possible for anyone in the race. It's a great stop there for McLaren. That is championship execution for them once again. 2.4 seconds and a little bit of clear air. He'll comfortably cover off Charles Leclerc, and with that, he'll cover off the 2 Mercedes in the pit. So if they're going to pass him, they're more likely going to need to do it on the track now. Having said that, look at the top. Antonelli, fastest lap on the last lap, 7/10 quicker than Russell and Piastri were going. So Antonelli has performance in that car, even though he's been sitting in traffic. Remember, he was the pole sitter. He's been the standout this weekend, and now in clear air, he's bearing down on his teammate.
If you're just joining us, the Mercedes got poor launches off the line. Antonelli dropped down to 6th position, was unpicking the places, momentarily up to 3rd, but was waiting for others to pit in front. It's a Mercedes 1-2, but they've yet to stop. Arvid Lindblad, with a titanic tussle with Isaac Hadjar, has finally come into the pits. Hadjar is now in 10th position. These laps are crucial if Mercedes want to continue their 100% record in Formula One 2026.
They can go long now. Hey, we're into an old school race, old school strategies now. If you can't undercut, you try and extend the stint and have a tyre advantage later on. Antonelli comes through and there's no incentive for him to pit. Norris may well undercut him, but he'll then have fresher tyres, and he's not fussed about the Norris fight. He's not fussed particularly about Charles Leclerc. He's fussed about his teammate, and he's fussed about Oscar Piastri, who still has the net race lead at the moment. And once again, Antonelli 6/10 quicker than Russell. I remind you, Russell wasn't happy with his car yesterday. He's struggling with inherent oversteer after Mercedes made a rear suspension change between practice and qualifying. They've not fixed that, and Antonelli still is the faster car.
I think I'm going to lose a lot of race time extending. Give me your opinion. What was the race picture?
So target -7. Currently, obviously, we would still drop out behind Piastri.
Right, this is brilliant news for McLaren. Russell is stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock Piastri. The hard plays Antonelli coming in quick behind him. And he's now thinking, if he wanted to beat Piastri, you go long. You take the better tyres. But he is seeing his teammate get bigger and bigger, looming in the mirrors. He's thinking, okay, I'm probably going to have to pit and cover him off. That will give him not a massive tyre offset, an advantage to go and chase this guy who is still your net race leader, as confirmed there by Marcus Dudley on the radio. You'll have to pass him on the track. He's got to clear Verstappen quickly.
Yeah, Piastri looking for efficient passes. Verstappen in his own race having a tough time with a Red Bull that just fundamentally lacks everything you need to contend at the front. And it's been a really tough start to the campaign for Red Bull. Piastri trying to walk his way by, but no easy way through. And the longer this takes, the better opportunity it gives Mercedes.
The problem is Verstappen was so slow through 130R that Piastri had to lift off and lost his momentum advantage. With it, he should have probably harvested a bit of energy, and he might well slide down the inside of Verstappen, who's not going to bother fighting that one in a different league this weekend. So a good pass for Piastri, still a personal best in the race, but 2 tenths slower than Russell on the last lap. He's got about 1.5 seconds worth of window, so he's not lighting it up on the outlaps here, and Russell's not far from him if he were to make a pit stop. But now Piastri has to use the freshness of that new tyre and go and chase Gasly for another pass, and then it'll be a little bit of an easier run.
Yeah, it's a big gap after Pierre Gasly, as you can see, left-hand side of your picture. You need 22.5 seconds for your maximum fastest stop in this Grand Prix distance, and at the moment Piastri is 20 seconds away from the race lead.
Already he'll have 3 laps older tyres if Russell was to pit on this lap. But again, I don't see the incentive in George pitting right now. Hey, what do I know? In he's going to come. But this is, I think, to cover off Kimi at this stage.
Tell us why you wouldn't have done this.
Because he's going to come out behind Oscar, and he's not going to have a massive tyre advantage. 3 laps on a hard, it's neither here nor there. So he's got a little bit of margin. Maybe it's to cover off, must be to cover off Leclerc here for Russell. So they must see Leclerc as the big threat. Norris has done the fastest lap, and Leclerc was a little bit quicker than Russell, if not quicker than Antonelli. Let's see how it goes.
Really needs a clean stop, really gets a clean stop for George Russell. 3 seconds across the line, and the net race lead for Oscar Piastri. Not just a contender, but crucially ahead of one Mercedes. What can Antonelli now do with clear air, with his teammate nowhere near? We've got a yellow flag out, that could change the race. It is a big crash for Ollie Behrman. It will change the race. Behrman off the road and into the barriers.
So that'll be a safety car, and that'll be a gift for Kimi Antonelli, who stayed out. So even more a reason Russell should have stayed out. Safety car, and George will lose out from pitting just before Behrman has stuffed it into the barriers at the entrance to Spoon. Really strange place that he's found the wall. It's just around that camera angle. We're going to see it on our right-hand side here.
Kimi Antonelli getting the benefit of stopping behind the safety car, long way into the barrier there. I'd imagine it has to be another car involved to go that far. Antonelli will come in, he'll get a cheaper pit stop, and it will give him the advantage as he makes his way back, or reduced speed behind the safety car, even when you're not lined up physically behind him.
Unbelievable!
He knows it, he knows it. That's not the... Well, there's an element of luck here. Safety car can come out at any moment, and it's come the exact moment that George pits. But he knows all of that work at the start, all of the passing that he did earlier on is gone to waste. Hamilton will gain as well. Hamilton hasn't pitted and should come out somewhere near Russell, I'd have thought, with this safety car loss.
Gasly has yet to stop as well. Verstappen hadn't come in, neither had Lawson and Bortoletto, all running in the points. So in comes Kimi Antonelli, who dropped down to 6th position on the opening lap. But he is going to be delighted with that timing, because Antonelli peels back, and Antonelli takes P1, having made his stop. Lewis Hamilton will be out behind Oscar Piastri, and it's very tight between Hamilton and Russell, but Russell making sure he got to the safety car line. It's the white line across the track that delineates who is ahead. Antonelli leads on track, and Oscar Piastri's magnificent first stint has come to nothing due to the timing, and that's not nice to see. Ollie Bearman having to take a moment and just sit down behind the barriers. It's a very, very committed corner. The medical team have been deployed there, and they're assessing what's going on with the young British driver. Full safety car is out. Kimi Antonelli, the timing of that crucial. He's got the lead over Piastri and Russell.
Yeah, Bearman out and limping. He's a tall driver, so I wonder if that's a knee bang on the bulkhead. Then his knees will be sitting, almost rubbing the top of the chassis. Let's have a look at the crash.
Okay, Oliver Bearman, 5th in the World Championship going into this one. Bearman avoiding action around the Alpine, heavily into the barrier. And the British driver finds the wall on a hugely quick part of the racetrack. Colapinto, the driver in front.
Yeah, so Colapinto slowing and then moving to the middle of the road quite late on, surprising Bearman, who came with a huge closing speed. It's the nature of the regs. You've got a car harvesting, you've got a car deploying, and you get these massive differences in speed. It's not like we've seen at, any time in Formula One. Looking at the data even in qualifying, you've got cars going at full tilt with different deployment strategies and huge differences in straight line speed, even in qualifying, let alone when they're trying to race each other. And then when you have a car going slower and moving around a little bit in the road, as Colapinto did there, it becomes very, very difficult.
Look, these last two races.
George, see what you can do from here. Yeah, super lucky.
I don't quite understand the logic of Mercedes choosing to pit. I know they are unlucky with the timing of the safety car, no doubt about it. Maybe they were, just trying to release Antonelli into a little bit of space, but you saw where Russell came out. There was still a good little bit of a buffer to Leclerc. He stayed track position ahead of Verstappen, but Verstappen's no issue. We saw Piastri flying past Max as well. So, locking in a sort of 3-lap tyre gain, whilst George was going okay and not under pressure from Charles, I might have been tempted to stay out with that one, and then he would have lucked in. But the fact that the safety car came out, it has compounded the issue. It wouldn't have been a disaster for Russell without it. It just might not have been the optimised route for his race.
Dr. Ian Roberts has collected Oliver Bearman, and the British driver who started this race from 18th on the grid, avoiding action onto the grass and hitting the tyre barrier. On lap 24 of 53, Kimi Antonelli, having stopped behind the safety car, only losing 10.5 seconds compared to the green flag lost time of 22.5. That's what it would do currently to the Drivers' Championship. Kimi Antonelli, if he wins today, is the youngest ever leader of a World Championship race. There's a long time to clear things up here. The track is going to have to be swept as well. We're continuing to circulate behind the safety car. It's going to be a while to let Valtteri Bottas through. It's going to be a while to sweep the track, so I think we've got at least a couple of laps before we get back going once again. The pack has closed up behind Bernd Mailander, who continues on with his 503rd race as the safety car driver. Antonelli, Piastri, Russell, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, the top 5. Lando Norris in 6th. Then it's Gasly, Verstappen, Lawson and Bortoletto, the top 10, with everyone having made their stop in the Grand Prix. So that is the state of play as we approach the halfway distance. Oliver Bearman, the only retirement, big crash into the barriers. The timing of when you were able to stop, absolutely crucial. Gasly with that advantage over Verstappen on track. That was the case anyway. There's about 4 seconds between them. But Gasly, Verstappen, Lawson and Bortoletto all able to do what our race leader was able to do and pit under the safety car. Charles Leclerc going early. He's going to have 7-lap-old, 8-lap-old tyres by the time that we get going again. This is the reason that we're behind the safety car. Oliver Bearman chasing down the Alpine of Franco Colapinto, heading to Spoon Curve.
Yeah, so we're closing, and now Colapinto is starting to harvest. So Bearman's got a huge closing speed, and it's just that move that Colapinto makes, just a 1 car's width off the racing line at the exact time that Bearman's looking to make the move. And he's going a lot quicker with deployment going on there. And it doesn't take much as you're sweeping around the right-hander there. The track is narrow anyway. It doesn't take much to then find yourself on the grass at that high speed. Remember, the downforce is low as well right now. And it's this move coming up from Colapinto that, no, we were already moving back to the right-hand side there. It's happened earlier, but you could see where he was coming from. Not the outside of the track, coming from the middle of the road. And it's instinctive as a driver. We've seen, I mean, we've already got Lindblad has got a black and white flag for moving under braking. That was a big squeeze that he put on Isaac Hadjar. It was actually picture-in-picture as we saw it. There was so much going on at the front of the field. Lindblad put a big squeeze on. But with closing speeds, it becomes, your instincts become that little bit more risky. So Colapinto just thinking, oh, let's try and put a bit of pressure on Bearman coming through. But Bearman just didn't have time to react to that. And it's a difficult, it's a tough circuit. It's a difficult part of the circuit as well, coming into Spoon. Narrow track, really high speeds, moving right for a left-hand corner. And as soon as he found himself on the grass, there was only one way that was heading.
Let's have a look from Colapinto's angle. Try and bring that to you now. So this is Franco Colapinto. He was the lead driver. Oliver Bearman is behind us. Let's listen in if we can.
Right, so he's harvesting and downshifting already. And there, it's just there where he moves actually quite a long way to the middle of the road. But he's going so much slower. He's plucked a downshift early on that straight. And, you know, it gives you an idea of the deceleration he's had, which is why Bearman's come from so far back and been upon him. And when he's upon the Alpine then moves to the middle of the road. And again, there's an element of instinct. But with these speed differentials that we've got, that instinct has big consequences. And I feel sorry for Bearman. Not only is he's battered and bruised in the wall, but you just can't see that coming. And you can't not try and overtake there. What's the alternative? He backs off and we all play safety car rules into Spoon Curve. It's not Formula One racing to do that. The instinct and what you should do is try and overtake a car that's going slowly.
The one thing I'd underline is the one thing the drivers have all said, no matter if it's Fernando Alonso or Arvid Lindblad, the most experienced driver or the only rookie we've got in the field this year. There's no template for this, Jody. You don't have the muscle memory of this type of racing at any stage of their careers. This is a totally different regulation set.
I think that's a level of mitigation for Colapinto here. It's that we have seen, if you look for years, you'll see someone looking in the mirrors. You're not supposed to have sort of reactionary moves, but so many times instinctively you see, oh no, someone's coming, and you just have a little jink out just to put a bit of pressure and squeeze. It's different doing that when someone's got a few kph than when someone's got 20 kph difference, or even more on you as you're heading in. I mean, that was, I would wager more than 20 kph speed difference between the Haas and the Alpine, but the instincts of the drivers remain the same. We're in race 3 of a new set of regulations, and trying to look in your mirrors and feel the speed difference, I mean, it's just so difficult for them to do. Add in this circuit, you see how narrow it is, you see how punishing it is. It all leads to this unfortunate consequence and a massive whack for Haas. A totally destroyed car for Ollie Bearman, destroyed race and a hobbled driver.
Any bump, Jimmy's going to go in the place that we trained.
Not sure, George.
Fascinating team radio for George Russell. He's asking when Kimi Antonelli is going to go back to full racing pace. The lead car decides when the safety car peels in, when we go back to full racing speed. You may not overtake until the start-finish line.
So let's bring it back to the front of the race then. Still a Grand Prix to be won. Antonelli has just had a massive dose of luck to get to the front. That timing of the safety car has given him the race lead and the freshest tyres to boot. He's in the fastest car. He has a great opportunity, but he's got to negotiate the safety car restart. And we saw in China how that wasn't easy for anyone in the sprint or in the Grand Prix. We speak about Russell being unlucky. The more unlucky driver here is Piastri. He was in the net lead of the race for McLaren. And now he's just looking at the back of Antonelli, who's had this gift in the Grand Prix. So Piastri here will be ruining his luck. I think this was a long shot anyway, but as the safety car ending message comes up, he's got to think, okay, if I want to get that back, I need to do something special. Mercedes have obviously planned what to do in the case of a safety car. If I was Antonelli, you know what, I'd think about maybe mixing it up right now, because George obviously wants to have a chance to overtake Oscar in second place. And if he knows when Kimi's about to go, he can sort of preempt it, and it should be quite an easy move for him to pass Oscar. But if there's an element of randomness, that's what all the drivers have, apart from Antonelli out front, who controls the pace and will dictate when we get back to racing speed.
The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. We had an extra lap to allow Valtteri Bottas to unlap himself. He has gone around, and he is currently at turn 5. The race leader is at turn 14. But those are the rules. We have a procedure, and that is how we're getting back racing. Drivers are being reminded of what they have to do. It just underlines how new this is to everyone. Lando Norris being reminded by his race engineer, Will Joseph, first time you're on full throttle, got to press the boost button. These incredibly talented drivers, 22 of the very, very best in the world, all being reminded of what they have to do whilst racing everyone else on the restart.
Yeah. Get your battery topped up now, get your tyres fired up. Antonelli weaving, making sure those fronts are in for when he has to maybe slow it down at the final corner or just turn into turn 1. Looks like he's not going to go before the final turn.
You can only boot it there. You can only boot it there. If you wait until the very end, you're going to leave yourself exposed. Antonelli coming back to green flag racing, which flies around Suzuka, and it's Antonelli, Piastri, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, and then Lando Norris. Max Verstappen looks like he's timed things nicely on the left-hand side, but it's the battle further back, and an easy pass. Lewis Hamilton through. Lewis Hamilton to third position, and on a restart again, it's gone wrong for Russell.
Yeah, Hamilton had the best of the restarts there. Remember, he's on a fresh set of hard tyres as well, so like Antonelli, benefited from pitting under the safety car, so he's on the fresher tyres and really judged that final chicane to perfection. Gasly having to deal with Verstappen through the S's, and that'll become more of a problem as we head towards the hairpin halfway around the lap.
The Japanese Grand Prix has turned on its head. On lap 1, Antonelli found himself in 6th position, with Russell with a good chance to elongate his championship lead. On the restart lap of lap 28, we find ourselves with Antonelli with a big advantage. It's 3 seconds over his teammate, with a couple of cars in between as well. All the while we've been talking to you on the restart lap, Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen separated by hardly anything. They were so close to contact on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, there's still just 3 tenths between those two into Spoon Curve. Antonelli didn't have the fronts where he wanted them when he turned into that final chicane. He just understeered like he was heading off the road through that first apex of the chicane, but everyone else behind was suffering with a similar issue. It was Hamilton that had done the most prep, I think, under the safety car and had it dialed in and took advantage over George Russell, and now he sits behind Oscar. And, well, that's a more of a headache for Russell. It's one thing trying to clear Piastri, but when you've got a Ferrari there as well, with overtake enabled, as we have with Charles Leclerc, it becomes harder. Hamilton now, with fresher tyres on Piastri too, sets as a great opportunity.
Antonelli, Piastri, Lewis Hamilton for Ferrari in 3rd place, and then Russell again on a restart lap down to 4th, Charles Leclerc in 5th place, then it's Lando Norris, then it's the intense battle between former teammates Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen. Esteban Ocon lost a position to Liam Lawson on the restart lap. He also lost a place to Gabriel Bortoleto, but he's claimed it back and is the last of the point scorers as it stands. There's Kimi Antonelli. There's the drift for Oscar Piastri, trying to break clear of Lewis Hamilton, who has rediscovered his form in 2026.
So these hard tyres are more robust. The rear axle is not your limitation around here as much as the front, so Piastri can afford to slide, generate some tyre temperature and get moving with his McLaren. He's on 4-lap older hard tyres, as I said, for Russell, it's not a massive offset. Hamilton's got 1 lap fresher tyres than Russell, and the benefit of pitting under safety car for it. But it's not massive on a robust, hard tyre. Piastri flicks another tear. He's getting through them today, Piastri and the tear-offs. He's had cars in his mirrors non-stop, and he wants to have a clear view of them. As you drive around, you just get lots of various splat on the visor. So you take a very clear, a very thin, clear Perspex film off your visor, tear it off, and throw it away, and you get a nice clear view again.
It is really tasty between Gasly and Verstappen. Gasly all over the road, deploying the power out of the final corner of this racetrack. Verstappen climbing over the curbs, trying to improve up to 7th place. Arvid Lindblad, Nico Hulkenberg racing each other into turn 1. Lindblad up to 13th. Multi-car battle for the major places. Antonelli, with the timing of that safety car, vaulted to the front. But he is trying to check out, and it looks like 2.3 seconds right now. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri looking for his first finish of his Grand Prix season, trying to keep Hamilton at bay, and Russell trying to recover, trying to discover the rhythm and minimize the damage in the points battle.
Yeah, Piastri's really working hard through the exit of Degner 2. It's a crucial corner because it is the final one before you come up to everything that's an overtaking opportunity. And keeping Hamilton out of arm's reach coming into the hairpin, and then you get these longer full throttle sections. So we ride on board with George Russell, the 2 cars in front that he has to clear to at least maximise his point score and minimise the damage that Antonelli currently looks like he's going to take on him, and the championship lead with it for Antonelli. And there we go. I did think Piastri was over track limits on the exit of Degner 2. And that is what Hamilton is seeing as well from the perfect vantage point just behind. Piastri looked like he was just creeping over those track limits. So I'd sort of hoped that we weren't going to go there with this Grand Prix. But there we go, the radio message coming in. And there is a white line, and then there's an extended part that it did look on the last lap. Oscar oversteered over.
Antonelli has been given the encouragement to push. He's been told to build the gap. And so no concerns for management, just go as fast as you possibly can around Suzuka circuit. What a wonderful message to hear for the 19-year-old from northern Italy. Lance Stroll has been told to come back to the pits. Aston Martin aiming to get 1 car to the finish today for the first time this season.
Well, it's the best chance. Hamilton this time, the driver sliding out of Degner 2, and he's got George Russell in close proximity this time around. He's just about within a second of Piastri, but you start sliding, that costs you a little bit of energy deployment as well. We saw it play out a lot in qualifying yesterday. Charles Leclerc had the most visible effort there coming through this corner, spoon 2, this one, with a bit of oversteer that then hurt him as he suffered down this straight. Let's see if Russell's going to have a chance to clear Lewis Hamilton.
Lance Stroll becomes the second retirement of the Japanese Grand Prix, round 3 of the Formula 1 World Championship in 2026. Antonelli, Piastri, Hamilton, and then George Russell. Knows Hamilton well, teammates for a couple of years. Amazing education to get for a driver who was promoted from the backmarker Williams team to Mercedes at the exact point that Mercedes lost their true competitive dominance. He's had to wait a while. They've got it back. He's also got a teammate who is in fine form. Antonelli with a 2.9 second lead.
Hamilton coming under pressure here. You can see him now fighting for each of these traction zones. Piastri's got good pace today. He is dropping away from Antonelli. The Mercedes is too quick and has fresher tyres, so that's a race that Oscar, I don't think, can win, but he can certainly think about holding on to that place ahead of Russell. And in extending over Hamilton, he's going to give Russell a chance to overtake the Ferrari. And it's going to be whether Hamilton can stick within that 1 second window. I feel like as soon as he falls away from it, the Ferrari, we know, has the straight line speed disadvantage.
So it's lap 32 of 53, and we find ourselves with Isaac Hadjar fighting Gabriel Bortoleto. That's been going on for a while. It feels like Hadjar's been fighting someone at every stage in the Grand Prix so far. Message from Haas, directly from the team. Behrman had a 50G impact. He's gone for an X-ray at the medical centre. He's got no fractures. Happy to report to you after that high impact into the wall.
Yeah, great news. It was a really high-speed part of this circuit, and that's 50G is whopping. That is whopping. You'd feel that in the morning, and he certainly felt that at the time as well. He's got a month off now to recover. Not a back-to-back race, which I think he'll be thankful for.
Race settling into a rhythm, and there is the gap that Kimi Antonelli has pulled out since the restart. Piastri 3.5 seconds back, and looking for his first podium finish of the season, first finish of any description of the season. He's able to get there. It'd be the 27th in his Formula One career. There's a replay of Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg getting past Lindblad. Those two were racing on the restart, and the Audi driver, both Audis into a Grand Prix for the first time since they joined Formula One. They've had trouble with both at the start of the campaign, but they're running 11th and 13th at the moment. Bortoleto is 3 seconds away from Ocon, who is scoring the last point.
So at the moment, yeah, Ocon coming through. Lawson benefiting as well from the safety car timing to leap into the points as Lindblad fell away from them with the earlier stop. So those that pitted before the safety car, in any sense, whether you're at the front of the field or fighting for points, they all lost out. If you hadn't pitted, you benefited, and that's why Liam Lawson finds himself up in 9th place, trying to bank points for the 3rd consecutive race. A sprint, a Grand Prix, and again, a little bit like Antonelli, it's a double benefit because you pit later, you get fresher tyres, and you get such a reduced pit stop time as everyone out on circuit has to go at safety car speeds. You don't lose as much by going at 80 kph through the pit lane. Hamilton a second away. So Russell with a little bit more energy available to him on this lap for the first time than Lewis Hamilton. So far, Hamilton has had the extra half a megajoule to use by virtue of having overtake enabled, by virtue of being within 1 second. Now you can see the gap just over that 1 second, so it's Russell that has the privilege of having 8.5 megajoules to recharge on this lap, which will give him more energy deployment and a chance to have greater straight line speed at some point, which will be coming up pretty soon. From the exit of this corner, it's 3 long straights, and that's where we'll see this play out for George Russell. Will it be enough? Hamilton getting just about within a second, so this is Russell's best chance to make the pass.
Well, Russell will be looking for a clean move, an efficient move, but any move, in all honesty, trying to keep his run going and finishing on the podium. But he will know the McLaren are superb at developing a car. He will know that Ferrari are pushing for a power unit upgrade as written into the rules with certain reasons, certain parameters hit, and you are allowed to develop. Sometimes, if you're too close in terms of performance, you are not. But Russell knows the dominance of a team in Formula One can be a fleeting thing. So any big point swing to your teammate is not what he needs for his charge at the championship. Neither Antonelli nor Russell have ever contended for the Formula One World Championship before, despite the difference in their Formula One careers. George Russell making his debut in 2019.
You could have freeze-framed this at any moment and it would have had huge ramifications for the championship. But after the race start, I think Antonelli leading with Russell off the podium seemed like the longest of shots, and the laps are ticking down pretty quickly here. 18 to go, and Russell couldn't make any inroads on Hamilton. I think Lewis actually was just within the 1 second at the overtake detection point on the last lap. Drops away again at the start of this lap, but he was pretty quick through the middle sector last time around. This time Russell's looking like he's in a better position to challenge once again. Hamilton has overtaken Abel because he managed to get round the second half of the last lap well enough to be within a second of Piastri ahead. So Russell has a little bit of a closing speed. As you can see, Hamilton just accelerating slightly in towards Spoon Curve. Overtake enabled, but it is enabled as well for Hamilton on this lap.
Russell hoping to get closer, hoping to get back to the podium like he scored as the winner in Melbourne, as the second place finisher in China. But George Russell has Charles Leclerc close proximity as well. Now now it's a 5.1 second gap between Antonelli and Piastri. Late move to defend. Russell had a lot of power, but he did not have the inside line.
But he's got the pace, and now he's got the advantage, definitely, in terms of the energy available for him this lap. He's got Leclerc still sitting with him. Leclerc will be hoping to pick up the pieces if Russell goes for a move and can't make it through. Hadjar's up into the points, running outside of Gabriel Bortoletto at turn 1, so a nicely executed pass, and Isaac Hadjar is getting both Red Bulls up into the fringes of the top 10.
Looking at the awesome Degner corners at this circuit. Two of them, and Oscar Piastri is hammering the throttle out of the second one every single time. Driver currently with a 1.1 second advantage. You're looking back from third place man, Lewis Hamilton.
And that was 11th place for Hadjar, my apologies. So 4 seconds to make up to get to the points for him, but finally round the outside of Bortoletto. Here we go then. Hamilton with Russell for close company. Opens the active aero, rear wing and the front wing as well open, so you're going to reduce drag, reduces the slipstream a little bit as well. But what about the energy deployment? Here comes Russell, closer, closer, not this time surely, but he'll get his best chance on the exit of this corner down towards turn 1.
Hamilton's so keen to get on the power early. All the momentum that you take onto the main straight, past the huge grandstand. One of 2 straight zones around the racetrack, and again, he takes that middling line into turn 1 and keeps Russell at bay.
It's working nicely for Hamilton. He's able to have speed in the right places, and it's just meaning that whilst he goes to the middle of the road, Russell doesn't have that overlap that he needs to make an attack into turn 1. You really got to be completely alongside on the way in, because there's no big braking zone before you have to sort of funnel in towards the racing line to get through what is still a very quick corner in Formula 1. Oh, he's close. He is close through the middle part of this lap, though. Hamilton, the pressure's just increasing, and he still hasn't got overtake enabled, so the pressure's just going to keep coming for Lewis Hamilton. Russell needs to clear him, because he has to then go past Piastri as well. Remember, he's got fresher tyres and a faster car than the McLaren.
And if he was able to do that, the gap... Whoa, problem for George Russell. George Russell loses a place for Charles Leclerc, who is up to 4th position. And George Russell, going from contending at the front, dropped to the back of the pack. And this difficult day is unfolding for Russell, who is now behind both Ferraris.
Well, what on earth's happened there? Is it a major issue? Is it just the fact that he's run out of battery at some point and Leclerc's come through? But that is some performance differential on a straight. Is there a bigger issue there for George, who at one moment looked like he was going to clear Lewis? Now has Charles used everything to pass him, and now George could come back through into 1? It's exactly the same scenario as before. Russell maybe just depleting the battery for a couple of laps, desperate to clear Hamilton, has ended up using it. He was so close behind Hamilton halfway through the last lap. Has he just got to a point where he's got nothing left in the battery pack, and Charles Leclerc has swamped him when he's not expecting it?
Charles Leclerc has the option to use the boost wherever he likes, but that is any point, any lap for the driver, who now finds himself in 4th position. And for all of the talk of whether Russell could get past one Ferrari, the second one gets by. He's now in 5th place with his teammate in the lead by 6.5 seconds.
Surely there was something else in play there. Can't believe that was just the swing in energy between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. That was a massive difference there for Russell, who looked like he was completely trundling into Spoon. Of course, that is the difference for Colapinto and Behrman as well, that was illustrated with their collision, or the avoidance and the crash for Behrman. Here we go, replay with Russell. So he just starts slowing. Hey, it's got absolutely nothing. No, he's got a bigger issue. That is not just energy deployment there. That's a bigger issue momentarily. And now Leclerc goes hustling after Hamilton.
Well, that's cost George Russell both places and momentum. And the pre-season favourite finds himself 5th in the order, off the podium, with Leclerc, Hamilton and Piastri potentially running very, very close to each other.
There's a way for them to all have overtake. Piastri's hustling that McLaren to try and stay out of the clutches of the Ferraris. McLaren having a much better weekend with Oscar Piastri. Ferrari acknowledging that after qualifying, saying that McLaren had made a step. Ferrari excellent in the corners. It doesn't have the performance of the Mercedes power unit on the straights. And George Russell will hope that he's able to use that performance in the remaining laps. Lando Norris has lost a lot of time across the course of the weekend. Hasn't seemed fully in a confident place, in a well-balanced place. And he's 2.3 seconds, 2.2 seconds off this gaggle of cars fighting for the places on the podium.
Norris was struggling for just general straight line speed yesterday. And generally this year, there's usually a trade-off between where you're deploying energy and where you're harvesting it. But actually looking at Norris versus Piastri in qualifying, he was literally just slower on every straight, which is a surprise. They have changed plenty of components in his power unit. He's got a new battery for this race, an energy store, after his DNS last time out. Piastri with a DNS, but they managed to repair the part at McLaren. So Norris having quite a few issues, and straight line speed seemed to be it yesterday. And today he's not been able to fight. He's been a little bit unlucky to lose place to Hamilton with the safety car window as well. But Piastri is doing a very solid job. And he'll be happy, of course, that there's now two Ferraris as a buffer to George Russell, who you have to still think is the quickest car in all of this train. Antonelli is just cruising out front, fastest lap on the last lap, 7/10 quicker than Piastri, 8 seconds clear, 13 laps to go. Looking like he's going to take back-to-back wins and a pretty healthy championship lead at this rate.
Yeah, when he was 6th in the pack on the opening lap, you dared dream of this. This is another fastest lap for the Italian, who ended a 20-year wait for Italy to have a Grand Prix winner in Formula One.
You have to say for Antonelli, he made his way through the pack pretty well. Leclerc pitted earlier on, which released him, and then he just had lap on lap better pace than Russell, which is where he's been so far this weekend. He's had a couple of tenths in the bank.
We are losing a bit of time for your info. Copy that, Charles.
Ah, the old classic, saying that the team's performance is being held up. And Charles Leclerc getting close to Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc wants a wave by. It's a 7-time world champion ahead. Unlikely.
Yeah, Leclerc's been a little bit more competitive this weekend. He's had the advantage over Hamilton. Hamilton had the safety car stop and has the fresher tyres, but I don't know if he's got the energy left to defend him. Oh, he does just. It's such a difficult place to make a pass into turn one. It's your final shot, but if you haven't got enough reserves to make it at least halfway along the side of your rival, it's quite an easy place to defend. And Hamilton there using all of his experience to cover the inside into the chicane, cover the inside into turn one, and use the energy just perfectly to make sure that he's in a position just to cover where he needs to. And now that brings Russell right back into play.
Not into the first Degner, George, and he knew there was no gap to go by. But the energy deployment playing a huge part here. Russell closing in on both Ferraris. I can tell you, Russell has been working with his race engineer, Marcus Dudley, lap after lap after lap to try and cure the issue that saw the Mercedes effectively just run out of power here and dropped him down to 5th place. They've been trying to find a change with switches on the steering wheel to try and get that Mercedes back to optimum performance.
You can see it again there. So he's obviously got energy to use, almost running into the back of Leclerc heading into the Degners, but then he's slowing again coming into Spoon Curve. So it's tough times for George Russell out there. It's better times for Charles Leclerc.
Close between the Ferraris once again. Nothing between the Ferraris once again. In Formula One 2026, every time we put on a Grand Prix, these two seem to be glued together. And now we're building up to 200 miles per hour. Lewis Hamilton ahead, but for how much longer? Charles Leclerc takes the racing line, and Charles Leclerc takes 3rd place, but they're nearly making contact again. Brilliant battling once more. Charles Leclerc 3rd, Lewis Hamilton 4th. But Ferrari love a fight this year.
Oh my word, they do. They love putting on a show. And wow, when we were on board, it looked for all the world like Leclerc was sweeping through to a patiently waited 3rd place. But Hamilton put up a fight. I really thought that was going to be Ferrari into Ferrari. I've thought that a few times this year. China as well, the first corner, the long ride into the Titan part, they went dueling, and that was very similar. Hamilton, well, Leclerc said to him, or said over the radio, that Lewis needs to know the width of his car, and I thought he measured it perfectly into the chicane. I wasn't sure if Leclerc was going to find the grass into the chicane, but he had the inch perfect measurements between his teammate and the grass. And I think Lewis and Charles there must have judged that to perfection as well. That was super close and an important move for Charles Leclerc, who gets his wish then. Well, not his wish, he wanted team orders. He had to fight for it. That was not team orders at all, but he gets the position.
You're not going to get team orders up against a 7-time world champion. Talking of world champions, Lando Norris has joined this fight whilst the Ferrari scrap. You've got Charles Leclerc ahead of Lewis Hamilton. George Russell still can't find an answer to get past the Ferrari. Couldn't find an answer to get past Oscar Piastri earlier on as well. It's turned into a difficult weekend. George Russell bemoaning his luck and the timing of the safety car, but surely this time it's going to be a pass. Hamilton goes to the inside, Russell sweeps on by, and George Russell takes 4th.
Yeah, that should have been a golden ticket for Russell to clear Hamilton, and in the end it was. He had to wait for the third of those 3 overtaking opportunities, and similar move to Leclerc. We didn't see how Hamilton forced it in towards turn 2, but Russell committed and makes it back into 4th position. The problem for Hamilton is he drained his battery entirely trying to fight with his teammate. So all of those moments where he got to the inside, got to the middle of the road and held Charles to the outside line, he is using his battery. He's then draining it completely in towards turn 1, and it takes a while to get it recharged and get it firing for the next big straight. And George then with the advantage and making the pain a little bit worse there for Lewis, and Lando Norris might be able to do exactly the same again on the next lap.
There's been plenty to talk about in the 3rd Grand Prix of the season. Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc getting the leap on the Silver Arrows at the start. Both Antonelli and Russell able to make their way back through the pack. Antonelli looking comfortable, but Russell was the lead car. Piastri was ahead of everyone before the timing of the safety car. A little bit of fluid escaping from the back of Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari, but that is sometimes a feature of this year's car. On board with Lando Norris now, who is now within 0.8 of a second of Lewis Hamilton.
Ferrari have got that exhaust fin, haven't they, as Norris captures an oversteer down towards 2. And it tends to give the illusion of a wispy, smoky engine. And I think the power unit's still working okay for Hamilton ahead. Leclerc up in 3rd will now come under pressure from Russell, who I do think isn't able to race here with a car that is doing exactly what he wants. We know in terms of the setup, it is a compromise. They went the wrong way after practice, and George has been troubleshooting it ever since. But in terms of energy management, it doesn't seem like he's at one with it either. And obviously lost the place to Charles, has made it back past Lewis. But this is a guy that was harrying and had the race lead earlier on, remember, momentarily clearing Oscar Piastri. This is, if he had done that, this whole race would have played out differently. If he hadn't have ceded the position once again to Piastri, he wouldn't have had to pit when he did. He maybe could have gone a little bit longer in the race, benefited from pitting under safety car. And it's one of those whole sequences that could have played out differently for Russell. But in having Piastri pit earlier, or get back through and then pit earlier, it didn't allow him the free air that this Mercedes really needs. Antonelli is flying away. He's 1 second a lap quicker than Piastri out front. But Russell cannot use the advantage because he's having to deploy his energy in imperfect places around the lap. He is getting closer.
Russell being told he's got a massive deployment advantage over Charles Leclerc on the main straight. That's where Mercedes believe is the best place to make the move. That's where they've been very strong across the entire course of the weekend. But they are still cycling through options between race engineer and driver. Lewis Hamilton is also on the radio constantly asking what's going on with his deployment, and there's a lock-up for Hamilton, a multiple race winner around this circuit, into the triangle chicane that's seen so many famous moments through the years.
Yeah, you can hear the ramp down of the power unit as the energy stops deploying into the final corner, and then Lewis trying to account for that in his brain, trying to work out, okay, what entry speed have I got? Where can I brake to maximise it?
Yeah, he needs to give the position. Hey, we're on it.
And somewhere there was Lando, but I didn't see him on board with Lewis, but maybe Lando was coming up the inside at that moment. Lewis was slowing a lot in the corner, and if Lando thinks that Lewis basically cut the corner to maintain the position, then technically he would have to give it up, but I think we'll need another angle of that.
It's been noted by race control. If it gets bumped up to an investigation, Hamilton's in trouble. Norris seems certain, but they always seem certain on the radio when there's a position involved. Position involved for Nico Hülkenberg. He's just got ahead of Isaac Hadjar. Ocon has been unable to do anything about Liam Lawson. Lawson in 9th, looking for points again. Verstappen has been glued to Pierre Gasly's gearbox for multiple laps now. He's struggling with graining with his Red Bull. There's so much curb being used there for Charles Leclerc, who has taken everything he can get from the Ferrari this weekend.
I'm enjoying seeing the drivers really fight these things through the apexes. They're having to hustle into the entries as well. I know there is a ramp down of performance into some of the big stops, but that doesn't dwindle the way that the drivers have to be on the limit of grip, and we're seeing that with the attitude of plenty of the cars. Oh, Hülkenberg's not going to sneak through there.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. We go to the S's, and still Hadjar remains ahead.
That's Hadjar coming back through on Hülkenberg, isn't it? They just swapped places on the last lap, both trying to get back towards a final point. And again, a switch around racing there on the 3 big straights. So Hülkenberg had momentarily got back past the Red Bull. Hadjar must have come around the outside before I noticed. Anyway, Hülkenberg on the inside.
Taking a lot of curb in the first egg. Risky stuff for Hülkenberg. The veteran, 3rd oldest driver in the field. And Antonelli has got the gap out to 13 seconds. He won't need to withdraw it any further than that, covering off the chance of a free pit stop late on lap 47 and 53.
Russell's close. He managed to get a decent exit of that final corner as well. A little bit less steering needed. Traction down.
This is where he's been told that he is so much quicker, but Charles Leclerc has responded with his energy deployment. And he's marking off Russell into the first turn of the racetrack.
The thing is, the drivers have no idea what each of them are doing. So Russell, when he exits the final chicane, has no idea how much energy Leclerc has at his disposal to defend. So it might be that halfway down the next straight, Leclerc starts to struggle, which is what happened with Hamilton as George had a big advantage. But there, Leclerc had a little bit of cash in the bank and just basically spent it down the straight to hold position once again. You just don't know what the investments are as you're heading around the lap.
So Russell will think again, will gather again. World Championship last year, separated by 2 points. No one would have expected Verstappen to come roaring back. The development race is going to be intense. Verstappen was racing Gasly all the way to the end in Bahrain last year. Brilliant to see Ollie Behrman back with the team. Went for an X-ray, no fractures for Ollie Behrman. Big moment and a 50G impact with the wall. It brought out the safety car, it changed the race. And the championship leader, at least it looks like for the moment, Hamilton still with Lando Norris in the mirrors. That's the battle for 3rd, but the battle for 5th is about to change. Told you, through goes Lando Norris, and the McLaren man is able to get by. And he's up to 5th place as Hamilton's form that looks so good on the restart looks pretty good down to turn 1 as well. He waits and he takes the place back.
So pass and repass once again. Norris spending his energy into the final corner. Hamilton saving it, and back through he comes. So frustrating for Lando. The stewards have looked at Lewis crossing the final chicane and not bothered with that one either. So I have to say, you couldn't see Norris from the onboard at the time, which says he probably wasn't far enough alongside. So again, with the closing speed, he actually has to lift off the throttle. That could have been an easier pass for him. It was still pretty easy, but could have been further ahead. But he's closing as you approach 130R, and you're just going to rear end the driver ahead if you keep your foot in. It's easy flat, but not when there's a Ferrari sitting on the apex.
They're just getting out of the way. Valtteri Bottas there, of Charles Leclerc, of George Russell, and Lando Norris has been told that there will be no investigation into Lewis Hamilton maintaining an advantage over the chicane. If he wants 5th place, he's going to have to pass him on the racetrack.
So, without taking anything away from Antonelli here, this has been a superb weekend. He's been the standout driver. His pace has been up the road from anyone, including his teammate. I'd have loved to see how this played out if he had to overtake those cars on the circuit. With the freshest tyres and the fastest car at the front of the field, this was always going to be a runaway race if the car held together, and that's what we've got. Confirmed, just look after the car. Let's see Russell with a little bit of a chance. Leclerc checking the mirrors. No big closing speed gain for Russell. Leclerc, he is a master at playing these battery games. We saw it in Melbourne. He is very, very good at frustrating George Russell, and he's been frustrated since that safety car call, hasn't he, George? It didn't go his way. He'd done a lot of overtaking early on, just had one more car to clear, and then that work was undone. But Leclerc is playing a fantastic game with him. But yeah, what would Antonelli have done if he also had to make overtakes for the race win? What would he have done if he wasn't in charge of the safety car restart and he was somewhere in the mid-pack?
I can tell you, Jolien, if they can't fix those starts, we're going to find out.
Sooner or later we will, won't we?
The season. But it would have made for a fascinating dynamic with his championship rival George Russell ahead, with Oscar Piastri just looking to get back on the top step of the podium. It was really well poised, but the latest we have had a safety car intervention in 15 years, changing things round. Antonelli had yet to stop, and the advantage is clear. 13 seconds. And he's been told to hold station. I think he's having the time of his life out front. He's about to take the lead of the Formula One World Championship in what will be only his 27th Grand Prix.
Russell sitting where he's been sitting for a very long time now, behind Charles Leclerc. Is he fractionally closer this time as they head down towards turn 1? On the boost button, deploying that extra energy, but Leclerc's once again doing a good job. He's not even having to go defensive and invite more pressure down towards turn 1. He's able to use the juice when he needs it, and he's still up there in 3rd place. And all this, remember, is great news for Oscar Piastri, who's had a tremendous drive today. Unlucky to lose the lead. The same way as Antonelli benefited, Piastri was hurt by that, but he's held on to 2nd place on older tyres than those around him.
Just read out Kimi Antonelli's last lap, Jody.
1 minute 32.4, Alex.
As fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so that message to calm things down, not listened to. He is having fun out there and enjoying himself with a 13.4-second lead. A recovery drive from 6th on the opening lap. And what is it about these talented young drivers and a need to just go faster all the way to the end? How many times have we heard it with Max Verstappen, GP telling him to just calm it down? But when you've got the dominant car, when you've got the championship lead nearly in your pocket, you've got a 2nd Grand Prix win in consecutive races coming your way, why not have the time out there?
Here we go.
Oh, here's the chance. It's been coming, and there it is. But look at what corner it is. Is that the move complete for George Russell, or will Charles Leclerc be able to get by? Lando Norris is close, with Lewis Hamilton behind as well. Over the line we go, and it looks like George Russell has done enough if he can defend it into turn 1. Charles Leclerc sweeping back, though, and he retakes his place on the podium.
That Ferrari has cornering speed, and Leclerc has confidence, as does Hamilton. Ditto, same move for Lewis, managing to hold the McLaren at bay further back, but Leclerc, full commitment, and we're seeing this a few times there. So he sees that this time Russell's too close coming into the final chicane. He could be under pressure, so he opens the door, he waves him through with what is then too easy a move for George. He's used more energy than he needed to in passing Charles, and that means that Leclerc then has a good opportunity to come back through, having saved plenty by giving George such a slam dunk pass. But my word, he still had to do some work in the corners, didn't he?
The inside line, and Russell must have thought it was done. Charles Leclerc wants that 2nd podium of the season.
So you know, the magic here is that the Ferrari car is good in the corners, the Mercedes is good on the straights. Every time we see the Mercedes making a pass, it's kind of in a straight line fashion. Blast past, almost pulled back to the racing line a lot of the time. When you see the Ferrari making the pass, they have to work so hard for it with the chassis, the downforce they've got. It's not a bad power unit, but it's not a match for the Mercedes. So we've seen it in Melbourne. Every time Russell came past, it was on the straight.
Norris to the inside at the chicane. Lando Norris takes 5th place. Can he hang on to it this time with 2 laps to go? There's Hamilton in the background. Can Hamilton get it back? Will there be a Ferrari appear in our picture to the inside, or does Norris hang on to it? It's 5th position for Lando Norris.
Long awaited, and this time he had enough left in the tank to deploy a little bit more and keep Hamilton behind in towards turn 1. A nice move on the brakes there as well for Lando. Wasn't a gift there for him. Had to work, be patient for it in 5th. But yeah, what does George do now? This is a podium at play. It's points at play as well. There's 3 more points if he can clear Charles Leclerc, which could be fairly crucial at some point in his title tilt.
Jack Black's ready to wave the checkered flag for Kimi Antonelli. We're on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix.
I could see you pulling off that sort of coat.
I could wear it. I'm not sure I'd pull it off. We are into the final stages of a Grand Prix with pass and repass, and Charles Leclerc driving the wheels off it. But for all the world that George Russell had taken it away, Russell will know every point is crucial. He will know that McLaren are going to develop brilliantly. He will know that Ferrari are still very, very good at getting off the line, and it's tactical games into the final corner.
Yeah, he's not quite close enough to commit to the overtake. You know what? Is he going to throw that on the final lap? The problem is for Russell, if he does that on anything but the final lap, he will get repassed down this straight. I reckon we've got a George Russell last corner lunge on our hands. If he's at the same place, he'll release the brakes and try it down the inside, where he doesn't have to then worry about getting to the first corner. He's only got to get to the finish line.
That's to come when Kimi Antonelli crosses the line. It's going to be about 15 seconds, 16 seconds afterwards. Kimi Antonelli on the final lap of the race, in the lead once again, getting used to that feeling. He is set for back-to-back Grand Prix wins.
Valentino Rossi used to do this all the time, didn't he? It almost like muck around for so long in the noughties MotoGP races, playing with his opposition, knowing that when it came to the final lap, I'll just have you there when I need to. Has George got that in his locker to put one more move and get himself on the podium?
Also further back, Max Verstappen all over the back of Pierre Gasly. So we have 3rd place on the line, we have 7th place on the line, but out front, here comes the new hope for Italy, who will win again in Formula One. You are looking at the youngest ever leader of the Formula One World Championship. Kimi Antonelli wins the Japanese Grand Prix and leads the championship at 19 years of age. Oscar Piastri finally started a Grand Prix. It's been a great one for him. 2nd place, well earned for the Australian driver, and Charles Leclerc hangs on.
You can only play the cards you're dealt, and certainly Kimi with the conclusion there that's pretty clear to see. Got himself to the front, there was a bit of luck in there, but the pace was outstanding. George Russell not able to mount that final attack because Charles Leclerc did the fastest middle sector of the Grand Prix on the final lap.
Well done, Oscar. Checkered flag, great job. P2. Not think I'd be sat here frustrated that a safety car cost you a win, but that is a really phenomenal weekend. Amazing job.
Well, turns out when we start these things, we're pretty good. Well done, everybody. That was, yeah, a great weekend. We've still got a bit of time to find, but yeah, well done everybody, we deserve that, so thank you. And let's find some more pace, and we'll be doing this a hell of a lot more often. Thanks.
Great race from Piastri. Driver of the day. I could go with that. I think he was sensational. Took the lead, unlucky to rescind that with the safety car, and kept those Ferraris at arm's length. Managed the safety car restart very well. What a performance on his first Grand Prix start of the season.
This is a look at Lando Norris getting past Lewis Hamilton. So many close battles on track that it was difficult to cover them all off. This was Hamilton coming back. You did that one.
Well, it's because there was so much going on, wasn't it? It was at the same time as the two in front were side by side. It was a lovely pass.
And then we saw Norris was able to get by once again.
Bravo, Charles. Bravo.
Let's go. I wish it was for a win, but feels good. It was a tough race with an unlucky safety car.
Yeah, that was a great drive.
For me, the three most deserving drivers are on the podium today. Charles Leclerc as well, pitted the earliest of those three. Norris was the first, of course, pulling the trigger. Leclerc covered him off, so whilst Piastri had older tyres, Leclerc's were even older, and he managed to clear his teammate. He managed to clear George Russell and really work for it. And then the genius to keep ahead of Russell, I think, was super impressive. So he would be another contender for driver of the day, Charles Leclerc, and Ferrari back onto the podium. A very, very good effort, keeping those points ticking. And remember, the pecking order will change. This is so encouraging for both McLaren and Ferrari to think they can beat a Mercedes. For the first time this year, they have beaten a Mercedes. It's not plain sailing. They romped through in those early laps, but once things settled down, it was much harder.
Also, Suzuka, traditionally, such a tough place to get by. Last year, the top three glued together at the end with no way by. Well, there's a lot going on in that Grand Prix, but the happiest man by a mile is Kimi Antonelli. 2 wins in Formula One, and he's had time to think about the celebration. Getting used to being at the front, amazing pace at the end. Underline that one.
Is that Usain Bolt?
That's definitely Damon Hill preparing for the interviews. It was Usain Bolt, to the 1996 world champion, who knows this feeling. He was a 2-time winner around here. And Kimi Antonelli is a 2-time Grand Prix winner in Formula One. The man elevated quickly through the junior ranks to fight at the front in Formula One. There is the driver of the day, Oscar Piastri, who has claimed his 27th career podium. And Lewis Hamilton, good mid-race, but not able to fight for the podium places towards the end. Charles Leclerc says well done to Kimi Antonelli.
That battle between McLaren and Ferrari, it is so good, isn't it? They're really evenly matched when they can take part in the races. And if they can both get closer to Mercedes, we've got a serious season on our hands. Remember the development rate that we saw in the last set of regulations. Again, I can see it coming back. There's a month off, and when we come back to Miami, it will be a different picture, I think.
Kimi Antonelli taking a moment to gather himself together. All smiles once again. In his second season of Formula One, he is now a 2-time winner. And the first teenager to lead the World Championship, and he's the first Italian to win consecutive Grand Prix since Alberto Ascari in 1953. Ridiculous how long Italy have waited. They had the great Michele Alboreto as a championship contender in the 80s. But Ferrari as their team, sometimes out of necessity, but Antonelli absolutely the championship contender and a fine start to the season. So all celebrations for Mercedes, and the top three are speaking to the 1996 world champion, Damon Hill, in Park Fermé.
Kimi Antonelli, congratulations. You are officially the youngest ever person to lead a Formula One World Championship. Do you have anything to say?
It feels pretty good. Of course, it's still early to think about the championship, but we're on the good way. I mean, the race had a terrible start. Just need to check what happened, but then I was lucky with the safety car to be in the lead. But then the pace was just incredible, and you know, was really nice. Second stint, I felt very good with the car, and very pleased with that.
Yeah, because the man next to you, Oscar, there, he swamped you at the start. You made a bad start. You said to Toto, apparently you're going to practice your clutches.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I got 3 weeks, so now I can practice some clutch drops just to get a better feel with it, because definitely it's been a weak point so far this year, and yeah, I need to improve that, because you can easily win or lose races with that.
But you were working way back up through the field anyway, weren't you? And then you had the safety car came out, which really handed you the lead. But yeah, after that, you looked absolutely masterful, totally in control.
Yeah, I think obviously we were very lucky with the safety car, but on the medium we were really strong once I get some free air, and then on the hard the pace was just incredible. So I don't know what it would have happened, how the outcome would have been without the safety car, but yeah, definitely was made my life a lot easier.
I'll come back to you in a second. Oscar, you finally got a race in. Yeah, so, and at one time you were saying that you thought you were comfortable and you could possibly hang on to the position, but then you had the safety car.
Yeah, it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened without that. I think, yeah, you know, I could keep George behind, and just before the stops we're actually pulling away a little bit again. So, yeah, a shame that we never got to see what would have happened, but I think for us at this point to be disappointed about finishing second is a pretty good place to be. So yeah, massive thanks to the team. I think we did a really good job of executing with what we had. I think, you know, we clearly still need to find a bit of performance, but yeah, we took every opportunity we had today.
Well, it was closer anyway, wasn't it, than not even getting a race, but well done for that. And Charles, also fighting third place, you know, you had to do everything you could to hang on to it. You got a bit of pressure there from George at the end.
Yeah, it was a bit of a sweaty one, this one. Obviously, with the safety car, we got a little bit unlucky. So from that moment onwards, I knew I was a little bit on the back foot, especially compared to Kimi and Lewis. But then I was like, okay, let's keep pushing. Let's try to keep those tires and bring them to the end. And actually, it wasn't that as much of a disadvantage as I thought. The tires were actually pretty good. The few laps that I had done wasn't so bad. It's just that we lost few positions. And then, yeah, it was quite a fun race. Just not quite enough to get Oscar, but yeah, it was a cool race.
Well done. And Kimi, we've got a little bit of a gap. You're going to practice your clutches, but this is it. You've won in Suzuka, one of the great tracks on the. Have you got a few words to say for the Japanese fans?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to have won in such a special track in front of these, you know, amazing fans. I think, you know, driving and racing here is a unique experience, and yeah, really looking forward to come back next year. Arigato.
Well, Kimi, congratulations, and we'll be back in Miami in about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks' time, I think it is.
Damon Hill with the questions. Kimi Antonelli, Oscar Piastri, and Charles Leclerc with the answers. Kimi Antonelli winning consecutive races for Italy for the first time since June the 21st, 1953. When Alberto Ascari won the Belgian Grand Prix. It has been a while for continued success for an Italian driver in Formula One.
Let's go.
High fives all round, handshakes all round. And Kimi Antonelli, brilliant that he's remembering to do that, drinking in every single moment, not taking it for granted, and reveling in being a Grand Prix winner.
3rd of May, the next Grand Prix in Miami, which I think is about as long as the winter break that we've had this year between finishing in Abu Dhabi and the cars hitting the track in Barcelona for the shakedown. So a huge opportunity for Antonelli to enjoy this one, enjoy the championship lead, and for everyone else to think about how they're going to catch him.
Yeah, teams that have got off to a tough start. Aston Martin, Williams with time to undo the damage. Audi, for example, have got time to look at why they can't get off the line particularly effective, because their race pace was good, but they lost so many positions at the start today. Same for Mercedes. If they can sort that, we'll have a lot less to talk about in Grand Prix, but they will have an easier Sunday afternoon. That instruction was listened to a fair bit. The crowd with so much personality here are waiting for the podium ceremony. Cool down room time.
Chi è questo? Chi è? Grandissimo.
His tactics actually follow pretty close.
Yeah.
Still can't overtake.
Yeah, he could follow.
I think also he gained a lot from overtake mode, no? I'm not sure here, to be honest, because when Lewis was behind, or even when George was behind, they didn't gain that much.
That's a start. Yeah, no, actually we got a pretty similar start. I mean, if anything, you got similar-ish. But yeah, your deployment was very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Like for me, it was the biggest difference since the beginning of the year with the deployment. So
But like in turn one, I couldn't get. I was like on boost everything. I couldn't get. Yeah. But then I was like, oh my god.
Wait.
I finally see what you mean about the mushroom. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
Look at that.
What happened there?
It looks like he was on a charger mode.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a close one. No, but here he came back.
Oh my god.
We touched. I thought I had a puncture.
Yeah, we're like, you were deploying more into 13, and then we were deploying more into 16 compared to you.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, not every lap.
No.
Some laps, you guys were deploying a lot into turn one. Like, George was flying into turn one.
Well, we were changing a bit strat modes.
Yeah.
Just to get, because when you're in a train, it was difficult.
You were flying at the when you had Freya, no?
Yeah.
What was the lap time?
But even on...
Well, pretty in-depth cool-down room discussion for the top three. Our podium finishers at the third round of the season: Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, and our race winner and new championship leader, Kimi Antonelli, who's taken his second Grand Prix win at the age of 19. Oscar Piastri with a 27th career podium, scored his first at this circuit.
Bravi.
On the medium, I was happy if I got into the 34s. I think I did like 1 or 2 laps in the 34s. I was like, I'm going all right.
Yeah, you guys in the race.
Yeah.
It's a post-credit scene for the cool-down room. I've not seen that before. Visit from Stefano Domenicali, CEO of Formula One.
Some bonus content.
Never know what you're going to get with the cool-down room. All sorts of occurrence in there. Lewis Hamilton was like, no, this is really nice. You've done it up. Because it hadn't been that way. He'd missed out on it the previous year. Ferrari back on the podium with Charles Leclerc. They've been on the podium with every Grand Prix so far this year, so a much better start to the campaign than they had in 2025. And Oscar Piastri's buzzing, isn't he? He's absolutely delighted to be back in the thick of it at the front.
Well, that's the thing. He lost the lead because of the safety car timing, but I don't think he ever really believed he could win the race. I think it was a shot at trying to do something special, and actually for him to finish second, what a result in his first start of the year.
Okay, here comes Charles Leclerc onto the podium for the 52nd time in his Formula One career. And second time this season. A Grand Prix starts and a Grand Prix podium for Oscar Piastri. And it's Kimi time once again. unmistakable Kimi Antonelli onto the podium. Brilliantly announced as ever, and it's time for the anthems. The Italian and German national anthems played for Kimi Antonelli and Mercedes. And this is always a special trophy. A wonderful moment for Kimi Antonelli. A second consecutive Grand Prix win. And he lifts it high above the circuit. Points to his team. Gold medal to go with it as well. He knew he got a bit of luck with the timing of the safety car and then decided to prove that he was rapid around here anyway, winning the Grand Prix by 13 seconds in the end. Giacomo Totora is lifting the trophy aloft for Mercedes. And Oscar Piastri restored to the front in Formula One and pleased with another podium finish in Japan. That's his third now in 3 years. And Charles Leclerc called it a bit of a sweaty race out there, a top performance. And a 50-second career podium for the Ferrari man who's been on the rostrum in Australia and now Japan in 2026. The champagne flows and it's a very happy podium. Pass, repass and repass again. But once Antonelli hit the front, no one looked like catching him. The breakthrough moment came in China, the championship lead came in Japan, and the Formula One season goes on pause for the next few weeks. Those behind Mercedes will try to find ways to catch up, and catch up fast. But Antonelli is loving the machine that has been built for him by the team on the podium and below him as well. Celebrating in Parc Fermé. And they're posing for the photos. 3 Grand Prix to start the year. There will be no racing laps in April, but there will be plenty of racing once we get to Miami, a sprint weekend. Looking forward to seeing so many of you there when Formula One gets racing once again. For Mercedes, a job well done. All 3 Grand Prix won, but it's Antonelli who's taken 2, and he is the new driver to catch in Formula One in the early stages of the season. Antonelli posing for the photographs, and the snappers behind wanting the pair of them. These are hard-earned moments. From go-karting through the junior formula, and rush through the junior formula to the top step of the podium. Back-to-back wins for Mercedes and Kimi Antonelli. As the crowd underneath the podium take in the moment. And the great tradition of staying in the grandstand and watching the replay will begin in a few moments' time for those in the crowd. But for you at home, let's recap the order of the 3rd Grand Prix of the year. Won by Kimi Antonelli and Mercedes. Oscar Piastri with the first podium of the season, a second podium of the campaign for Charles Leclerc. Kimi Antonelli, the race winner by 13 seconds. Piastri, Leclerc, the podium. Then Russell, and one time the race leader, finishing in 4th. Lando Norris got past Lewis Hamilton. Pierre Gasly had Max Verstappen chasing him all the way to the flag. Lawson and Esteban Ocon, the rest of the point scorers. Finishing but not scoring, Nico Hülkenberg, Isaac Hadjar and Gabriel Bortoleto. Arvid Lindblad had some good battles but finished in 14th. Then it's Sainz, Colapinto, Perez, Alonso finishing Aston Martin's first race of the campaign. Then it's Bottas, Alex Albon was conducting tests for Miami, and the 2 retirements, Lance Stroll and Oliver Bennett. To the World Championship, a new name at the top. The first time ever a teenager has headed the field in Formula One. Antonelli on 72 points, then it's Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton and Norris, Pierre and Liam Lawson, who completes the top 10. Up front, the 9-point gap between Mercedes drivers. To the second page, Arvid Lindblad not scoring today. Neither did Hadjar or Bortoleto. Sainz was not in the top 10. Esteban Ocon was. He's 15th in the standings. Then it's Colapinto. And the names below, Hülkenberg, Albon, Bottas and Perez, yet to score. 22 drivers in the field for 2026. But sadly, Aston Martin unable to get to the top 10. They did get to the flag, though, to the Constructors' Championship. Not a 1-2 for Mercedes today, but 135 points is a phenomenal start. The Ferrari are in 2nd, McLaren are in 3rd, Haas with 4 points, 1 extra today thanks to Ocon. Then it's Alpine, Red Bull, Racing Bulls, Audi, Williams, and yet to get on the board, Cadillac or Aston Martin. And my thanks to the whole team on site in Suzuka, Japan, and working through the night at the Media and Technology Centre in the UK, wherever you've watched us. Thank you so much for your company. We'll see you when Formula One returns.